Good afternoon and welcome to the National Urban League's Digital Career Success Series. My name is Jody Brockington and I am the host of today's fabulous series that we've kicked off, How to Press Start on Your Career. Today is all about networking. I'm a master networker, but today is about making the connection. There's lots of people you can meet out there, but making the right connections with the right people will be extremely important to you. Today's session and part of our series is sponsored by Marriott International. They have been a long-time partner with the National Urban League and have also sponsored the career fair brought to you by the Urban League's Job Network. So today we are brought to you by Marriott International, none only than their own Andy Chavez, who is a senior executive in human resources, in charge of all partnerships and the one luckily with us here at the National Urban League. And we are proud to be a partner with Marriott International to build more diverse and equitable workforce. So they bring a bright, shining star to the National Urban League, and they are going to be our host hotel for those of you joining us in Indianapolis. Today for the series, I am personally sitting at the AC Marriott here in Atlanta, and I know that my partner in crime, the great and only Clarissa Moses, is also at the JW Marriott in Indianapolis now. So we welcome you, Andy, for joining us. We want to thank you, and we'll be hearing from you later. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our featured speaker today, who is no other than Landy Spearman. She is definitely, like Andy, an FOJ, a friend of Jody. She is definitely someone you want to know and have been able to really master networking to not only catapult her career, but for those who she works with. She has over 20 years of experience in operations, manufacturing, sales, marketing, diversity and inclusion, HR. She's a lean Six Sigma, but to me, she's my friend. And when I need her most is on the areas that she helps others with their priorities and navigating their life and business. So today she's here to help you really focus on your career and how you are going to be able to better navigate from some of her tips. So she is a CEO of her own company. Some of you might want to also find out ways to get to work for yourself and be an entrepreneur, but currently are working in a fabulous career. Those of you who are employees, you'll be able to use her tips to be able to move your career up and around the offices that you are currently in. I would like to bring Andy back, but not back, but first, before we kick off with Landy, to tell us a little bit about himself and also his partnership and the work he does with the Marriott. Andy?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Depending on where you are in the country, maybe it's morning, maybe you're somewhere else in the world. But Marriott's proud to be here today. Longtime partner, as Jody introduced us, of the National Urban League. We have a strong relationship with the National Urban League's young professionals, and of course, we're proud to be here with the Digital Career Success Series. So excited about today's topic, and which is making the connection. And we are lucky to have a powerful speaker today in Landy Spearman. So we are excited. Kudos to Jody and Clarissa for highlighting a couple of our brands, and we hope to see everyone in July in Indianapolis. Great town, great venue, and looking forward to a wonderful conference. So I'm going to keep it short because I know everyone's busy, and again, excited to hear from Landy. Thank you.
So before I kick off with Landy, I wanted to also alert the whole audience that today we have 3 fabulous giveaways. Landy is offering 1 coaching session, which will be fabulous. Anyone who wins that, it's priceless. There is no price on it. So we'll be giving away 1 one-on-one coaching session with Landy. So you can actually, focus on a goal of your career. She'll help you kind of map out and come up with a strategy. So whether or not you're trying to ask for raise, move to another job, maybe move to another city, she can help you get there. The other thing that could help you, and the reason why you must stay on till the end for these 3 prizes, is that the Marriott, thanks to our great partnership, is giving away 2 stays, 2 overnight stays to 2 lucky winners in the audience. So there's 3 prizes today, but you must be in it and on the line to win it towards the end. So listen in, make sure you participate, send in those questions, because we're going to choose our winners from those of you that actually really have a lot more insight, have some great questions that are relevant to today's topic, and those that we feel like we've been able to really touch and help. So listen in, and Landy, it is now your show. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and enlightening those of us who are fortunate enough to be on the line.
Well, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what part of the country you are in. Hello there. I am super excited to be here, and I'm actually sitting in the Houston Area Urban League. So we are making the connection full circle. Thanks again, Jody, for introducing me in such a fabulous manner. I had to listen to who was that you were speaking about. And Andy, again, we appreciate the partnership. We are going to go ahead and get started with making the connection. And let me first say, guys, I am super, super stoked about this conversation. The reason why is networking is key. Networking is key. And as you know, change happens. And so with technology and the way that things have happened so quickly, we have to make sure that we know how to network on and offline. So let me get into things that are going to give you some value today. And I also want to make sure that, again, you stay until the end, because I will give you an opportunity to connect with me beyond this presentation. And I'm looking forward to connecting with you. Okay, so here in Houston, in 2017, Hurricane Harvey hit the city. And this is the 4th largest city in the United States. And at that time, I can tell you, whether your home was flooded or not, the devastation, it changed everything. Anyone who was impacted by the devastation could tell you that their lives were changed forever. Everything stopped. Nothing was business as usual. And at that time, I was running a relocation concierge company that helped executives to relocate throughout the country. And again, we're flooded, so not a lot of relocations going on at that time. So what we did was we shifted. Destination for relocation changed from moving boxes to moving mindsets. The reason why we made that shift is we realized that the people that we were helping, executives, professionals, leaders, people like you, dealing with change, dealing with stress, no matter whether it was a move, no matter whether it was trying to get your family settled, or whether or not you were just trying to get back to normal, you needed help. It had to come from outside of you. If any of you have ever moved before, you know how stressful moving can be. Now imagine that you're having to move because your home is filled with water, or because your business or your company, you can't even get in. So what we did was we shifted. We made that shift, again, from moving boxes to moving mindsets. And we are now known as Landy & Co. Next slide. In other words, we make shift happen. So whether that be in your business, your organization, in your personal life, we make shift happen. You all notice those cowboy boots I got on there? So from conception through delivery, Landy & Co. accelerates the return on investment of effective change management. What do I mean by return on investment? Well, when you think about a change, no matter what the change is, whether it be an update on your phone, whether it be a change because you just brought in a new baby to your home, or a new piece of technology, or a new project, or a new company or merger that you guys have experienced. When you go through a change, everyone is affected. So the return on investment of making the change has to be measured, has to be accounted for. And we normally, when we make a change, think about that update on your phone. You don't think about how much time does it take for you to move from the way things used to be to the way things are now. And imagine multiplying that through an organization. So we provide solutions to individuals and organizations to unlock that value of change and growth, no matter which stage you're in. We're a consultancy firm that addresses the most complex side of change, the people, you, right? Organizational change management, if you've ever been a part of a project team, or if you've ever been a part of, again, a change, a personal change, you know that you have to get to a result, you have to get to a goal. So we come into your company and we help you work with the people side of change to make sure that the goal that you're trying to get to actually happens. We also offer accelerated growth coaching. And what that does is that helps you to eliminate the barriers, the things that are inside that you may not even realize are obstacles to your growth. You get clarity, you close the gaps, and you get to pivot faster. These are some of the things that we've been known for, some of the things that say we're good at this. But what I do want to say is it's not about me, it is about you. Next slide. Let's start off with a vote, a poll, all right? If you would, please type into the chat. This is for you to type into the chat. How comfortable are you engaging in conversation with new people? Come on, guys, this is about participation. So let me know. Are you, 1, totally terrified in starting up a conversation? 2, are you a, if I get to know you, we could talk? Are you a 3? If I have to, I will. They're coming in, but it's not your favorite thing to do. If you speak, if you have to, will you? Or no problem at all. Okay, it looks like the no problem at all, let's talking all day are winning, if there's such a thing as winning in this. Couple more participants. Let's tally up your vote. All right, so it looks like most of us are comfortable. Let's talk all day long. I will engage with new people. I'll jump in there. I have no problem doing that. Well, that's good because this is for everybody. Whether or not you are terrified or whether or not you're ready to move forward and talk all day, this is for you. So let me start off with a quote. Oprah says, when the personality moves to serve the energy of your soul, that is authenticity. When the personality moves to serve the energy of your soul, that is authenticity. Landy Spearman says, to make the greatest impact, connect your personality to the power of your influence. To make the greatest impact, connect your personality to the power of your influence. So we're going to talk about impact and influence for the art of networking. Okay, so you all have heard about raising the bar, right? How do I raise the bar? How do I make this work? How do I make shift happen, right? So in order to remove the ceiling, that's beyond raising a bar, we accelerate your growth with tools that you can use to make the connection. It's not just who you know, it's who knows you. So the art of networking is all about impact. It's all about making an impact. The way that you make the impact or a change is you need to just manage it. Don't take it all at once, just manage it. What does that look like? So we've broken down shift into a gear, like a gear on a watch. It all fits together. The S is for success. The H is for health, happiness. How do you measure that? How do you shift the gears on that? The I is for impact or influence. How do you make sure that you're making the impact that you want to with the things that you're doing? The F is for freedom. The freedom that you're normally seeking is the same thing that you have to let go. So what does that look like? How do you make that shift? And then time. We never have enough time. Is that true? We never can get more time, but we never have enough time, right? So we look at all of these pieces and how they fit together, again, like gears on a watch. And we know that change is a shift that needs to be managed. All the pieces need to be managed. Today, we are talking about impact. The art of networking through impact includes innovation and influence. Did you know that it takes 7 impressions, 7 guys, 7 impressions for people to remember you, your name, or your brand? Now I want to pause here and I want you to think about yourself and just think about whoever your favorite brand is, whatever the newest thing that has caught your attention. How many times did it take for you to see that? How many times did it take for you to connect to that? So what I say regarding the art of networking, and remember, the art is something that is a skill, something that has to be applied. So the art of networking is, instead of leaving an impression, you must make an impact. Next slide. Okay, so let's get down to the nuts and bolts, or the gears. The art of impact through networking is impact through innovation. What do I mean by the impact through innovation? Here's some tips. Get your pens out. Make sure that you are ready. Type on your computer. Have your notes ready. So, innovation, of course, involves technology. Reinvent yourself. When you're thinking about networking, think about how do you want to display who you are now? What does that look like? Update your profile. What does your profile socially look like? What does your profile online look like? What is your profile in that same technology that you look through every day that we all use? What does that look like? Is your professional photo up to date, or is it one from 10 years ago? I have a coworker, a friend, an associate here who every year she gets a new professional headshot, a new professional photo. I think it's a very good thing to keep the current information about you, including your picture, online, fresh and up to date. Create an eye-catching headline. So think about the titles that you may have seen, emails that you may have opened. What caught your eye? What about you that you can put online that can speak to who you are that will catch someone's attention? What is that eye-catching headline? This is, again, the art of networking. Get somebody's attention by having an eye-catching headline. Include your accomplishments. Don't be afraid to talk a little bit about who you are and what you do. That doesn't mean you have to lead with your accomplishments, but you want to make sure that you do include them so that people know that you're credible, you know where you're talking, you know what you're talking about, and they are someone who should connect with you. For more tips on how to connect through innovation, please check out my LinkedIn profile, linkedin.com/NIN/Landy Spearman. And when you click there, go ahead and connect with me. When you connect with me as a private message, then you will also get some tips, some additional tips on how to connect through this impact that we're talking about. Next slide, please. Okay, the art of impact with networking. Let's create your impact. All right, how do we create your impact? Diversify your talent. What does diversify your talent mean? Think about when you started 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, that internship that you may have had, that additional certification that you got. What does that look like? How do you explain that? Diversify your talent. Create case studies to show how that skill that you got, how you were able to apply that. Make sure that you are showing the reason why people should connect to you, because you can show the value of what you bring by your talents, experiences, and things that you have done. Okay, here's a big one. I told you that I owned a relocation concierge service. I'm curious, have you considered relocating? Did you know that over half of Americans relocate? in their life for their career. When you think about diversing your talent, you want to think about where you're currently at might not be the place where the company you want to work with or the skill or the career that you have is located. So you may want to consider relocating or crossing industries. You also want to create your impact through others. Request testimonials. Don't be afraid for those folks who said, great job, I love what you did. Do not be afraid to make sure that you are requesting testimonials from those folks and that you are connected to know how people see you. You can also use some of those same experiences that people say, this is how you help me, in those case studies. So that's how you create your impact. Okay, the last I, impact through others. Okay, this is all about influence. How do you become an influencer? There's a new word, influencer. I've heard it several times, but how do you do that? What do you do? And how does that relate to networking? Well, you can join meetups online, offline, connect to groups. Think about things that you have in common. Think about your alumni association, things that you have done in the past, things that just interest you. That's a way to connect with others. It doesn't always have to be related to work. You can meet with people and find a common ground to find a conversation starter. That's how you create the impact through others. Here's a couple more. Make sure that you post in groups online. So a lot of times we think of some of the big ones, maybe the Indeed or the Ladders. And when you're thinking about where do you post your resume or where do you go look to search for jobs or put your profile, think about a couple of these others here. TheMuse.com, that's TheMuse.com, JobWhale.com, RigZone.com. We're here in the oil and gas industry, although I work with folks all over the country. You can look at a specific industry online group to make sure that you're posting there. And you also want to connect with us on Facebook to receive an additional bonus called Tools of Influence. Now, I wanted to summarize by letting you know, can we go back to that last one real quick? So let me ask, while we're pulling that up, are there any comments, questions, feedback? Is there any additional suggestions that you all have for connecting online or offline when you're thinking through the art of networking? As I said, I went through quickly and I talked through influence, I've spoken through impact, and I've spoken about innovation today, giving you some ideas. You're also going to connect with us either on LinkedIn or Facebook. We're going to give you some additional tools offline. I want to make sure that you've gotten value. So let me know what your suggestions are. How do you connect to your career success using some of these tools? What does that look like for you? Jody, can we check the chat? I'm going to go in here and see before we go to the next.
Don't worry, we'll get everything at the end. Keep rolling.
Okay, perfect. So folks are busy clicking and chatting. The last one talked to you about posting in online groups. And the next one is how you can connect to us so we can help to guide you. Next slide. Okay, so LeaderShift. What is this? LeaderShift helps you in today's fast-moving world where performance standards and innovation change quickly. We all know about that, right? The thing is leadership is even tougher than ever in this environment. Tougher than ever. So leadership is a little bit different. It's not leadership. Ship is leadership. John Maxwell says, to thrive among the fast changes and high demands of leadership, we must make the right leader shift. So what we're doing is we're introducing LeaderShift with Landy Spearman. For you being on this call, this event, or even this replay, you'll receive a 30-minute accelerated call with Landy Spearman, myself. What that will do is we'll take all of those things that you have in your mind about how you want to get to your next level, your next step, whether that is in your life or your career, and we'll help you to pull that all together. Identify the critical change that you need to make to stay effective. You'll also get guidance during this 30 minutes on what it's going to take for you to make your first shift. Think about a time when you've ever gotten stuck. Have you ever just gotten into a place and like, okay, I'm where I want to be. I'm making the amount of money I want to make, but I've been here for 3 years. I've been here for 5 years. So we help you to turn stagnation into growth. During this 30 minutes, you also gain clarity to reduce chaos. Isn't that great? Can somebody come in and help me to gain clarity to reduce chaos? You will also be able to close gaps faster. If you think about an example of, let's say, what's on the outside of a label. If you think about a bottle and if it has a label, if you consider yourself to be on the inside of that label, you can't see yourself. So when you're trying to make a change or make a shift, especially if it's during a time of stress, it makes it slower. There's more friction. You probably have more resistance. So we help you to close the gap, to pivot faster, and leverage tools to help you do this. This 30-minute call has a value of $1,500. $1,500, 30 minutes. Next slide. I have some of you all already connected to me on LinkedIn. Thank you for doing that. I would be remiss, let me say that, if I did not connect you to the tools that I was connected to help me create that profile. I didn't do this alone. LinkedIn for Influencer, the success to help you get to where you need online is a bonus as a part that is offered to you to help you to learn how to use LinkedIn to jumpstart or grow your business or career. It's going to help you to gain visibility as the expert that you are or grow your influence. And this again is with Dr. Sarah David, who is my LinkedIn advisor, and she is putting this as a part of this package to help you get to where you need to be. This is a part of that. So this is a bonus for you for being here with us today. This is what is being offered so that you can get connected to this for your own skill building offline. It's also going to help you to build your own powerful network, so that people can start to call you versus you having to call everyone and search for them. So here's a summary. In this special event, you will receive the leadership, the 30-minute accelerator with myself to help you identify those changes to stay effective, the guidance to help you make that first shift, and tools, all accelerated within that call. You will also receive the bonus with Dr. Sarah David, an e-course to help you gain visibility, to grow your influence, use your LinkedIn profile to jumpstart your networking, and create those case studies that I talked about when we were talking about innovation. It's going to help you to do all of that. And this is offered to you it's valued at $2,500. It's a special price at $497. For those of you who like a customized approach and want more time, we have that for you as well. There are additional benefits that you're going to receive, everything that you would get from option 1, and you'll also get an upgrade. You get an additional 30 minutes with a life shift needs and values assessment. And let me tell you, this is a game changer. The needs and values assessment, you get that phone call. All my clients, we continue to refer back to that on our monthly coaching calls. So that's what you would get as a part of the upgrade. You also will get a recording of our 60-minute call. That is a $3,500 value. And Dr. Sarah David is also going to include, if you want the customized upgrade, she's also going to include a virtual e-critique of your current LinkedIn profile. Once you go through your course and make sure you get all those updates, she's going to help you to make the difference and move. And what to say when you're networking as a template for connections. Like when you're thinking, like, what do I say? What do I say to new people? How do I make this happen? And this is all offered at a special event price of $997. To get connected and to take advantage of the leadership or the leadership plus that upgrade, just click on Calendly. That is calendly.com/Landy&Co. Make sure you click that and you'll have your options there, and you can get scheduled today so that we can get you networking online, offline, make the decisions that you need to make the next critical shift. And you can also get the help that you need to move to your next. Here's information, shift your impact with me. Here's information to make sure that you're able to get connected. My LinkedIn information. Again, thank you so much for connecting. Those of you who have already clicked and linked. Thanks for sharing your feedback through direct messages. We're always looking to measure and make improvements. And then make sure you follow us on the Landy & Company business page, both through LinkedIn and Facebook. Now, I know I've given you a lot of information. I wanted to make sure that you had ways to connect offline, but we wanted to make sure that in addition to connecting offline, letting you get the value that you needed today, that we have a chance to get your questions and answers in. So please, without further ado, let's see what we have going in our chat.
Wow. Well, I'm just happy that you're already in my network and I have access to you to ask so many things, Landy.
Love it.
Every time I listen to one of these and host, I learn something myself. So first and foremost, before we go further into the questions, if you can just repeat your own quote. A few of them were really interested in your quote that came after the Oprah quote, and I didn't write it down, so I could not repeat that. Do you have that?
I do have that. Let me pull it up for you.
Okay, while you're pulling that up, I just want to say that having the Marriott International as our partner today makes so much sense because of what you have done in your career moving people. And it seems like there's quite a few folks online today in our audience that are definitely interested in making career moves that would move them. And I really say, and I'm just a Marriott fan, that Marriott is a great company to work for. And you can actually move just about anywhere in the world. You could be in a front desk in Maryland and then end up in a front desk in, Milan, or in corporate or other jobs. So I definitely want you to speak to, now that the quote is up, speak to, how does one prepare to move? Like, if you're living in, Utah and you want to move to a big city, how do you prepare to move, whether or not you have the job yet? How do you start doing that kind of search and preparing? People want to know.
Great question. So here's the quote. Let me start there. And what I'll say about this quote is going back again to impact. When you think through impact, not just impression, you want to remember that to make your greatest impact is to connect to your personality. Connect your personality to the power of your influence. All right, let me break that down really quickly, and then I'm going to relate that to moving. So we're looking to make the greatest impact. Your personality, who you are, your authentic self, every day, all day. Let me say this, a lot of times because of our roles, because of our experiences, because of what happens in this thing called life, we don't quite know who we are. We might know what we like, might know what we like to do, but we don't know who we are underneath. And so when I say, when you connect to who you are, the person, your authentic self, when you connect that authentic self and that's what you're sharing, that is the power of your influence. When you're thinking through, okay, I know we had half of the folks saying that they are okay with talking, they're okay with speaking and connecting to people. Well, there were about, I think, 57%. So that means 43% of people weren't ready to just get in there and connect. So you have to know that about yourself and value that. When you know that you're not the first one to jump out and talk before everyone else does, that is absolutely fine. Be yourself. But you also want to be able to connect to the things that are highlightable about you, the things that are your strengths. And when you connect those two, that's the power of your influence. I have a couple friends that I call quiet storms, and those are my favorite types. The quiet storms are the people who there may not be the first ones who, speak out loud or say me first, but they're listening and observing. If you know that about yourself, highlight, I'm a great observer. I'm a great listener, and connect that to the power of your influence. Now let's talk about relocation. Okay, relocation, prior to Hurricane Harvey, there were 10,000 people moving to Houston, 10,000. So I did consulting with a company that is here local in Houston, and then they're worldwide as well. And what I saw was that when people were moving, one of the things that was happening was they were excited about the job, because Jody, you asked about, how do you prepare? So they were excited about the job. However, once you got there, you had to quickly get ready for work, and your house was not ready. You had to meet the cable guy. You had to get things settled and situated. So in order to prepare, you want to start with help. If moving is not your expertise, but being an engineer is, if moving is not your expertise, but being a scientist or a director or an HR manager is, if those are your expertise, then connect to someone who that is their expertise. That's why I say start with getting help. Start with getting an expert to help you make your transitions better.
So Andy, from your perspective, since you've had multiple roles within Marriott for a while, people are in our audience today want to know, how do you best navigate and ask someone, your boss, that you might want to move to another department, not just an upgrade or to a new job, but also maybe to a job in their company in another city or state or even another country. How do you open up that kind of conversation with your director, your superior, your boss?
Well, that's a great question. I think one thing that's important to understand, and I think Landy was sort of hitting on this, was that your skills are portable. So even if you're looking as you're a finance person, but your passion is sales, those things are not exclusive to each other. In other words, the networks that you build while you're a finance, the brand that you build for yourself will help open doors for whatever it is. We have a belief at Marriott that if you're successful in one role, you're probably going to be successful in the next role. So if you have a passion, you should have those discussions with your direct reports. You should volunteer to be on a task force for whatever it is that can help with that exposure to other disciplines and other leaders within those disciplines. I think one of the things I saw, and I don't mean to jump the gun, but we were talking about, or one of the questions was about crossing industries. Well, understand that, if you're in HR or finance, for example, those are portable experiences. Mm-hmm. Those are skill sets that go to any organization. You need the HR role. You need the finance role. If whatever it is your desire, you should start sort of planting the seeds to let people know that this is the path you want to take. And I think those are, like you said, I've been with Marriott. I'm sort of unique, I'm sure, online, because I've been with Marriott my entire career since I graduated college. But I've had 4 different careers within the same organization. And I've always networked those next opportunities. I think, be truthful with yourself as to what you want to do, and start building those networks that can help you get there.
That's great.
Yeah. And Landy, what do you see as one of the major challenges for someone to be able to, although we have a lot of folks that say they're comfortable talking to anyone about anything, we know when it's time to ask for a raise or I want to move to that department, everyone gets a little tongue-tied and a little, little butterflies in the stomach. How do you, keep the risk factor? How do you, know that it's the right thing and feel okay, feel confident to go into that office?
Okay, so I took a breath. I took a breath to answer the question because I know that so let me first say this. There was a recent poll that showed that companies, as of 2019, within the last 5-10 years, companies are now really allowing folks to make a promotion. But did you know they're making a promotion not always with a raise of money? They're not always adding money there. So just something to note, right? So let's just start there. So know when you're talking about maybe crossing industries or crossing skills, as Andy was speaking about, that it may be to get the experience. So when you're thinking through, how do I ask the questions that, yes, I do want to be here, or I do want to move, or I do want to grow myself, start with where you are. Start understanding. I spoke about this earlier, understanding your authentic self. What do you really want to do? Is it that back a long time ago you were an actress, and so you really do like being in front of people, but in your role you're behind a desk? Like, understand that about yourself, and then when you're going in to ask the questions, showcase the things that you've done, showcase your skills. One of my clients, oh, this was such a great idea, I have to share this with you all. One of my clients actually kept a play-by-play book of all of her accomplishments. Literally at the end of the year, kind of like a yearbook, if you remember those, a yearbook shows these are the things that I've done, these are the things that I worked on, here are the teams that I was a part of, here are the things outside of work, because your boss doesn't always know what you've done outside of work, even if it's a part of what they paid for. So let's say you got an additional certification. They don't know the value that you now have. So you have to cheer for yourself. Be okay with cheering for yourself. The other thing that I would say is when you're thinking through how to keep yourself relevant, up to date, when things are changing, we talked a little bit about the fact that change is happening so fast. Innovation is happening so fast. So staying relevant with some of those groups that I even mentioned will give you insight to what's going on in the industry, so that you can have an idea for yourself of what some of the hottest jobs are, what some of the hottest industries are, what some of where is change needed, where is help needed, where are your skills needed. So it's your responsibility to stay on top of that. And again, if that's not your expertise, get help, raise your hand, it's okay. Even successful people get help. Even people who make the best decisions, who are leading others, one of their secrets to success is get someone to help you to make that shift.
It does take a little time. You mentioned so many things for folks to do to connect with you and find you and do this, and we all do that. But a lot of folks on here are not are not as, and maybe some are more, LinkedIn savvy. But the statistic is that anywhere from 70 to 100% of jobs are being from recruiters specifically, and from large firms, are using LinkedIn. And if you don't know how to leverage it and how to truly make genuine connections with folks online, and especially in LinkedIn, you can also hurt yourself. It's not, people are like, oh, I got a private account, I can have as many connections as I want. And it's like social media. It's not just about the quantity, it's about the quality.
That's
right.
So
if you can even connecting with you. When I tell people to connect with me, I tell them not to just hit that connect button, to go into the message, send me a personal invitation, remind me where I have met you, or how I know you, or why I'm connecting with you. Did I promise I was going to do something for you? Versus you hit connect and you go into a black hole for me for like a month or so, because I get lots of requests. And I don't even manage my LinkedIn profile myself. I have an assistant. So can you give some tactics of how to use it, best ways to find people? You talked about groups, you talked about a lot of things. And Andy, if you have some stuff to chime in as well, that would be great, because I know you're a master and also do some recruiting. So
sure,
we can start either.
Andy, can I jump in?
Absolutely, I was waiting for you.
Okay, well, let me get started. So, couple things. One is, Jody, I asked specifically if people could connect with me on my LinkedIn. And the reason why is because, like you, I am quite busy and I have someone who helps me. The reason why I made the offer to connect with my LinkedIn advisor, Dr. Sarah David, is because this is her expertise. I am not an expert at creating case studies. Let me be honest with you. I'm not an expert at creating case studies about myself, about my experiences. It's easy to see on the outside. Remember, I was talking about that label? It's easier to see on the outside and see others than to reflect and see in yourself. So that is the reason why I could not. I told you I would be remiss if I did not make the opportunity. Connect with me. Let's talk. Let's create that shift for your next. But also, how do you do that? What are the templates? What do I need to say? And I love the fact that you brought up the direct messaging, how we go into a black hole. Think about how many unopened email messages you have. Think about how many times you just clicked accept without knowing who you're truly connecting to. So what I've asked is, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, my commitment is that I'm going to send you some tips of influence. Here are some things, because I've given you a lot of information. You're right, Jody. You know me, I'd rather give it all to you and then we'll distill it down. So please do that, because I want to share that with you. The other thing, in addition to how do you truly make that connection, how do you join the groups, is take a long look at your profile and spend some time going through it. Here's an easy test. Look at your business card. If everyone takes out your business card, look at your business card and look at the picture. Is the picture current? Are the pieces of information, is the telephone number accurate? Is the email address? Are you still even with that company? Let's start there. Make sure that when you're looking at what you're passing out to network face-to-face while you're making that impact, make sure that is the right thing to do. And so now online, LinkedIn, your profile serves as that while you're asleep. So is that accurate? Is it up to date? Are you truly connecting with people with the best version of yourself? The headline, is it something that's catchy? Is it something that recruiters, you mentioned recruiters, is it something that recruiters can say, oh, wow, we need this, and we can clearly see that? And again, if that is not your expertise, connect to someone whose it is.
So let me chime in. So there are so many ways to stay connected, and technology has afforded really a vast landscape, right, that we all need to take advantage of today. For example, at Marriott, as with many employers, Marriott allows you to not just post your CV or resume, but to build your profile on our career site. And why is that important? Because as a hiring manager at Marriott, that allows me to search your resume even if you did not apply for the specific job that I'm trying to source for. I mean, that's an amazing fact of how we source talent today. But, let me step back. So we're, understand that we're a travel company, right? And we see the value. One of our values, in fact, our first value statement is putting people first. We believe in putting people first, embracing diversity, creating a more inclusive network. And I think Landy, hit on this. Be genuine when you're developing networks and when you're connecting with people. Have a purpose and stay connected. When you build the networks that bring value to your life, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. At Marriott, we believe your journey should include a focus on wellness. I mean, friends and family are a critical element to help you live your best life. But this is also, friends and family, your most powerful network, and will serve you well as you pursue an enriching life. So I'm excited about the discussion today, but it's so important to have purposeful connections. But if those connections are going to be purposeful, they need to be genuine. People want to know your true self and understand that network could include anyone, because you never know when somebody is going to be able to connect you with someone that makes a difference with whatever you're trying to pursue. So don't be intimidated by titles, but also don't dismiss people because of titles. And I think the more genuine you sort of approach life and networks, the more return on investment you're going to get on those investments of time and effort and outreach.
Wow. If I could just add one more point, Andy, thank you. That was so awesome. And it helped to remind me to remind you guys as to what the reason is for me creating a company that address change in both our organization and in our life. So I started off talking about Hurricane Harvey, and yes, it was a time of chaos, craziness, a lot going on. But the reality of it is that there was no race, class, age, there was no one that wasn't affected in some way, shape, or form, even again, if your house wasn't flooded. And so because moving is one of the top 5 stressors in life, we already were experts at understanding when people are stressed or they're trying to make a change, that it takes something. So it was easy to see that, wow, outside of yourself, look at all of these people who are stressed. How can we get in there and how can we help? I say that because Andy spoke to wellness, and I'm very big on wellness. So we talk, instead of mental illness, we talk about mental wellness. What does that look like? Andy spoke about taking some time and really taking a check and take care of yourself. So that is a part of the entire package, that entire shift. Remember I said success, health and happiness, impact, freedom, and time. Health and happiness are included in that. You are included in that. So in what you're doing, whether it be trying to up-level your career or take on a new project or buy a new company or move to a new part of the country, you want to keep in mind that it is you that is the one that is making the transformation. It's not outside of you. And it is okay for you to get back to focus on, wait a minute, what does this look like? How am I going to make this happen? If you're the one pushing, if you're pushing your team, how does it look for you to make that transformation? If you're pushing your family, how does it look for you? So Andy, thanks again for bringing that up. I just really wanted to point out that the mental wellness or the mental well-being is just as important of a factor of those gears fitting. Because if it's off just by 3 or 4 millimeters, think about that. If you think about the gears on a watch, if one part of that gear is stuck 3, 4 millimeters, everything stops. We can push it through and try to make it happen, but the reality of it is that everything stops. My link again is here. Please connect with me. I wanted to make sure that we have enough time to do the giveaways as well, right?
Yes, those are coming up. I have one more question, which is kind of what you're talking about, but from, all ends of perspective, from someone who's entering the workforce brand new, those who are kind of mid-career, and those that I call seasoned. What are the best ways of also changing industries and or sectors? So not just that I want to go from marketing to communications or communications to IT, but I really want to switch from working in corporate to nonprofit or nonprofit to government. How do you best, one, digitally make yourself look like what you want to be versus what you are? And then how do you show and showcase your transferable skills? Like, if you're new, you can start learning what those are right away. If you're mid-career, you have some, and you got to figure out what those are, right? And then if you're seasoned, and you want to make a change, how do you make a pivot, meaning a conscious decision versus being changed upon when companies change? So that's our last question for today. And then, yes, we will announce the winners. We have 3 winners.
Oh, wow.
I'm holding my breath for them.
Well, I'm excited about that. So I'll answer this quickly, but I think it's going to give you value. So I moved, when I worked with Kraft Foods, I moved from being in a corporate office, a corner office, loving every part of it except for the true stress, being on the succession plan, doing everything that I needed to do to drive my career. And a part of that was changing industries. A part of that was changing from being in a corporate office to understanding the operational part of the business. I moved from that desk to wearing boots and a hard hat, and I worked at the Oscar Mayer Lewis Rich plant, killing turkeys. And I tell you, when you talk about transferring skills, I did the transfer of, I relocated from a big town to a big city to a very small town. I changed completely the environment. And then you talked about the sectors. What does that look like? So what I did, and I explained this a little bit on my LinkedIn profile, is I took those skills, again, because it was changing. I took those skills and I showed that they're quite transferable no matter which industry. And the great part is what I bring to companies, what I bring to individuals is a diversity of perspective. When you think about your perspective, if you're coming from one industry to the next, that's a different perspective. And the best way that I've seen to do that, to showcase that, is through those case studies. Show what was the problem, how did you solve it, what did you do, and what was that result?
Gotcha. Andy, any last words of advice on the same topic?
Sure, absolutely. So let me just chime in that here's my advice. No matter your experience, make your appearance to whatever that organization is that you want to get your foot in the door with the experience, with the skill set you currently have. So if you were at a nonprofit, but you were the communications director, then if you're interested in working for Amazon or Google or Nike or Marriott or whoever, start with the position in communications, because that's the expertise or that's the skill set you bring. Obviously we're talking about make the connection. So use your networks, but without the network, and even with the network, be honest with yourself, but get your foot in the door with the skill set that you have, and then build your network within that new organization to sort of navigate where you want to be. So I will say this is a very competitive market. Unemployment is very low. Being aspirational for that position, there's going to be 100 other people with a stronger skill set than you if you're trying to get your foot in the door in what you want to be, but don't yet have the skill sets. Don't be afraid. Like Landy just talked about, don't be afraid to go to wherever to build those skill sets. So, make the challenging choice to, take an assignment where you're going to run a shop, but build further skills. So I think, at the end of the day, I heard this one time, every day is a job interview. So understand that people are looking at you internally and externally. And so as you build networks, it's about really being true to your personal brand. And, if you're genuine with that, if you invest in yourself, I think people are going to take a chance on you, but you just, you need to expand that network where it makes sense, and then invest in that every one of your network in order to open those doors that you're looking for. So this has been a great discussion.
Yes. And our winners today, drum roll, Lakeisha, you will be winning the one-on-one. Lakeisha Jackson, you'll be getting an email from us. You got the one-on-one session with Landy based on the questions and the stuff that you had coming in. We felt like that could give you the most for your time, money, and effort as a winner. We want to make you a career winner. The two folks that will be traveling in Marriott style will be DeMarcus Alexander and Jamila Baldwin. Both of you as well will receive an email from the National Urban League, specifically from Moses. Please look out for her email. We want you guys to take some pictures. Lakeisha, I know that probably Landy is far from you, so I'm sure she'll do your session via Skype or something, so take some pictures there as well. We're excited for all of our winners, but we're more excited that all of you joined us today and got this information. You have two top experts that truly know what they're doing, and they are making sure that your career will be successful. We have our next Digital Career Success Series coming up on February 20th. And the next few seasons will be the 4 Ps of promotion, building your personal board, and funding your venture. So those of you that are trying to also go the entrepreneurial route, this might be another place for you to find some answers and find those who have made a successful transition from being an employee to an employer, whether a solopreneur, small business owner, or if they've even been an investor. So we hope you'll join us again. I cannot thank both Landy and Andy enough for joining us today. And we're looking forward to having you both back in the future and seeing you both in Indianapolis. So on behalf of the National Urban League, the Urban Leagues Jobs Network, we want to thank our audience, our featured speakers, our sponsor, Marriott International, and of course, the team at the National Urban League for making this all possible. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day, wherever you may go. Have a great one.